Welcome to Southern Crime. We are going to discuss the story, the case, the horribleness of Susana Morales. She vanished on her way home last summer. Her remains were found just a couple of weeks ago, 20 miles away from where she was last seen. And an ex police officer has now been charged with her murder and kidnapping. Let's get into it. Miles Bryant is charged with concealing the death of another and a false report of a crime. We'll get into what that was in a little bit. They said that he lived in close proximity to the victim and dumped her naked body in the woods. Y'all. Y'all. So his charges have now been upgraded to kidnapping and murder. And in Georgia, a lot of times when somebody goes to trial, it is actually they are charged with felony murder and malice murder, plus kidnapping, plus following a false report. So we are going to start off somewhere.
Death of Susana Morales, a fired DORAVILLE police officer, is now accused of kidnapping and murder. Brittany Kleinpeter has more on why Gwinnett County's police chief says these charges were upgraded against Miles Bryant.
I just spoke with the chief in the last couple hours, and he tells me that Miles Bryant is now accused of murdering Susana Morales because they found a gun that belonged to him near her remains. Now, prior to this, he'd only been charged with concealing a body and filing a false crime report.
What we do know is that she died at the hands of Miles Bryant.
Tonight, there are still many questions surrounding how and why 16-year-old Susana Morales was killed. But investigators revealed in the last few hours that they don't believe Morales died due to a gunshot. This afternoon, 11 Alive got a hold of the new arrest warrants for Miles Bryant. They show he's accused of kidnapping the teen near Singleton Road and Tech Drive in Norcross back in July, and then murdering her near Drowning Creek Road.
Using our investigative skills, we placed the two of them together.
Today, Gwinnett County Police revealed Bryant lived at the complex where Morales was visiting a friend the night she disappeared, and also worked a side job as a security officer there. Police believe he interacted with her that night and killed her sometime between 10:30 p.m. and 2 a.m. They would not say whether he was on the clock that night. No one knew what had happened to Morales until her remains were found earlier this month, soon after Bryant was charged with concealing her death and fired from DORAVILLE's police department. Today, the chief told me the fact that Bryant worked in law enforcement has been tough on everyone.
This type of crime at the hand of a law enforcement officer evokes anger, even within the ranks of this agency.
No first appearance for Bryant's latest charges have been set. In Gwinnett County, Brittany Kleinpeter, 11 Alive News.
Okay, so there you have it. At a court hearing on this past Tuesday, the judge appointed Bryant an attorney and informed him that the judge who signed the warrant denied bond. So he is right where he belongs. So let's get into further detail about what happened to this poor little girl. July 26, 2022. Now, in that time of year, we don't get dark until 9:30. Just to give you an idea, it starts getting dark somewhere between 9 and 9:30, and it's definitely dark by 10. But just to give you some idea, Susana Morales, about 6 p.m., she left her home on Santa Ana Drive in Norcross, and she was walking to a friend's house nearby. About 9:40 p.m., Morales texted her mother to let her know that she was walking home from Windscape Village. And you see right here, this is her road. This is Windscape Village. It is the same apartment complex in Norcross where Bryant lives. His unit overlooks the Morales family's home. Police have said they do not believe that Morales and Bryant had a prior relationship. And when I say that, I don't mean, um, necessarily a dating relationship, but any kind of relationship, any kind of, have not been in each other's circles before. You can see on this map right here, obviously I don't know her address or his address, but you can see where some of these apartment buildings overlook Santa Ana Drive houses right here. So at 10 p.m., Morales has still not returned home. And it sounded like the parents weren't totally panicking yet. They used a location app and saw that she was walking on Singleton Road between 10:07 and 10:21. And I get that. Our family uses Life 360. Three of our children are grown, but my mom's on it. My husband, our children are on it, and it's that little bit of, if anything ever happens to them, I will be able to give the police all of their info about where the phone has been and how it was traveling until the phone gets turned off. So it gives you a sense of peace. You see, okay, she's walking. So as a parent, I can understand thinking maybe she ran into a friend and they were talking, or she got a phone call and she stopped walking. At 10:21, between 10:21 and 10:26, Morales' phone indicates that her last known location was on Oak Lock Terrace near Steve Reynolds Boulevard. And you see right here, that was a big jump. So between 10:07 and 10:21, it shows she's walking here on Singleton Road. And then by 10:26, she is suddenly over here. Police believe that she encountered Bryant and possibly got into his vehicle somewhere between 10 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Police believe that somewhere between 10 p.m. July 26th and 2 a.m. July 27th, that Morales was killed. My understanding at this point is that they believe she was killed in the same place that she was found. But I have not heard that definitively yet. On July 27th, it is now 9 a.m., and Morales' parents report her missing to police. I know that there is some stuff that they are saying right now in that area that they have some difficulty communicating with police in some cases. Other cases, they report things like missing children, and it is not handled correctly. Just various things that the community is saying. So that might have been a reason for her parents to wait until the following morning, because maybe they don't want to go through the hassle if she has just decided to spend the night at a friend's house or something like that. Yes, she's in trouble, but I'm not going to make it worse by getting the police involved, kind of thing. At 11 a.m., so 2 hours after that, Bryant reports his gun being stolen. And I believe what he actually reported was that his car was broken into and his gun was stolen. A few months later, October 2nd, 2022, Bryant responds to a report of a missing child, but waits 3 days to finish the report, according to personnel records. Federal law requires that a missing child, the report has to be completed within 2 hours. So for those 3 days, there was no record of that child being reported missing at all. Nowhere. Bryant is written up. December 11th, 2022, so another couple months, a former friend of Bryant's files a police report claiming that he has been showing up uninvited at her apartment repeatedly for nearly a year. This case is never assigned to anyone. So listen to this.
11 o'clock, we're learning more about the now former police officer charged in connection with the death of 16-year-old Susana Morales, whose remains were found in the Cula last week. Well, it turns out that a Snellville woman has now complained to the police last year that the same police officer had been stalking her months before and after Morales disappeared in July.
Then after he was arrested on Monday in the Morales case, the woman now wonders if it could have been her. John Schierick has her story for us tonight.
Woke up with nightmares.
She is still shaking. Alicia Bates says that on Monday, when she saw that Gwinnett County Police had arrested now former Doraville police officer Miles Bryant in connection with the death of 16-year-old Susana Morales, Bates said to herself,
It could have been me.
Alicia Bates says she now believes Bryant is the same man who had been stalking her over several months last year, even breaking through her door when she wasn't home, she says, and trying to get in several other times, as seen on a neighbor's doorbell camera.
When I saw him on camera and saw what he was capable of and doing, trying to break in, it had me very scared for my life.
A screen grab from one of those videos in October shows the man's face, and that's when Bates says she identified the man as Miles Bryant, a childhood friend who had recently tried to reconnect with her. But she had stopped returning his texts. She reported Bryant to Doraville Police and to Gwinnett County Police. But Doraville Police tell us there is no proof it was Bryant who was committing any crimes against Bates. They told Bryant of the stalking complaint, and after that, quote, the behavior stopped. And we're working to find out what Gwinnett County Police did with her complaint.
So I would have been the first victim that they knew about had he got in and I was home. He did get to Susana, and then he came back for me in December. So I feel like had they investigated my case more, Susana could have been here, and I do want him to be punished for his actions.
Alicia Bates says whatever happens with her case against Bryant, she hopes prosecutors call her to testify against him if and when he goes to trial in connection with the death of Susana Morales. In Atlanta, John Schierick, 11 Alive News.
So, could that be any more terrifying? Sitting in your home with a gun, hiding, and then you find out months later that this man has killed somebody. On a side note, it wasn't the only one. A woman says he broke into her room or into her home to steal her underwear in 2018, so 4 years before. I didn't want him looking at me. I didn't want him talking to me, the woman said. That's how the former officer made the woman feel after she says he broke in. It was specifically like my underwear. So it's just like, why would he need that? The woman said. One day, she says her family reviewed surveillance camera footage and they recognized Bryant at their home. We see him climbing our porch. That's when I realized that even underwear that I've had for, only a couple of months, like they were gone, the woman said. Maybe if I would have filed the police report, he wouldn't have had the case to be a the chance to be a police officer, and he wouldn't have been able to even gain Susana's trust, the woman said. I've also heard that he worked as a security guard at the apartments that he lived at. But my understanding was that he was not working that night. But this woman does not want to be identified. She said she was a neighbor on Samuel Drive in Norcross, and they went to Berkmar High School together. They no longer have the video. The woman has been in contact with Gwinnett County Police, and a detective is trying to locate it elsewhere. The family never filed a police report. And I can, while she didn't say why, she kind of did, but, embarrassment of somebody stealing your underwear and, she's still in high school, says we went next door and we spoke to his parents. And from there, they kind of, talked us out of making a police report, the woman said. In February 2018, a police report shows another Berkmar classmate said Bryant tried to break into her home. The homeowner in that case did not wish to prosecute, and so that case ultimately was unresolved. So now that's 3 cases, and it makes me wonder what would have happened if Bryant had an arrest on his record before he could become a police officer. If it was if we're talking about, well, this is the 5th year, so he was 17, 18. It could have been pleaded down enough that would still have allowed him to become a police officer on, the first person that reported it. And then if the second person reports a similar thing, there's a lot lower chance of them allowing it to plead down. A third one, definitely. But the third one didn't come until a few months after Susana disappeared. So February 6, 2023, Morales's remains were found in a wooded area off of Highway 316 on the Gwinnett County, Barrow County line, right in this area, so 20 miles away. Near the gun, or near her body, they find a gun, and they determine that it is registered to Bryant. On February 13th, so a week later, at this point, the coroner has been able to officially identify her, and police start watching him because they know that it's his gun. So police start watching him, and that leads them to, in what they said, basically, without a doubt, we know that that Bryant was the one that did it. And they haven't specified. That is probably something that's going to have to wait for the trial. Just like with Alec Murdaugh right now, we're getting all kinds of things now that we're a couple years away or after. But so we will probably have to wait until trial to hear, what it was that he did that made them pretty sure. But, it could have easily been that he drove back out there. They like to do that. And he was certainly, in my opinion, a serial killer in the making, because he just seemed to be escalating with his crimes. So he is charged with felony murder and kidnapping on February 22nd, also with filing a false police report. At this point, they have not charged him with rape, but they believe that it is certainly a possibility. And again, that would go into stealing underwear and the other crimes that he had done. Those tend to go a lot together. I really think that he was on his way to being a serial killer, because you look at him stealing underwear or trying to break into these girls' homes that he goes to school with in 2018. Then he kills this girl in 2022 in the summer. Then at the same time that he killed her, he has been showing up at this other friend's house for, she says it had been going on for a year, and that was in December 2022. So the same time frame that he has kidnapped and killed Susana, he has been doing this to this friend and has broken in and made it to the point that she got a gun. Then I think that he would have just kept going. Thank God he lost his gun. Unless his thinking was, well, somebody stole my car, kidnapped this little girl, drove her out there, left my gun there, and drove my car back. And, so anyway, definitely going to be following up on this one, because I think that there are going to be more victims that come forward, and no victim blaming in this case, because everybody has a reason that they don't report, and it's easy to look back and say, well, if they had reported, it would, this wouldn't have happened and this wouldn't have happened. But you never think anytime something happens to you, you never think that you are the person that is going to be part of something that becomes a huge deal. We all think it's not going to be us. And, like in the one case, his parents could have easily said, we don't want him to get in trouble. He's trying to go to college or whatever it was. And the other family said, okay, I understand. So no victim blaming here, because everybody had the reason for not reporting it. But it is easy to look back and say, if this one had been reported, Thank you so much for joining me as we went through this horrible, horrible story. I'm glad that he's off the streets before and not able to hurt anybody else. We will see you on the next one. Everybody, take care. Bye.